What is going on, everyone? Drake here. So we completely shattered the like. I'll appreciate everybody's support here. So like I promised, I'm going to go ahead and finish my breakdown here out of empty bunch tight in Baylor offense. So to begin here, just going to go ahead and advise. I'm going to go ahead and go into the play call screen here. If you'd like, you can use gadget at halfback package. It just gives you 4 wide receivers and 1 tight end. Otherwise, you can just run a regular with running back, which basically will just allow you to audible around here to other formations. All right, so we've broken the huddle again here. Now, there will be some setups focusing on different hash marks, which I'll make that clear when I'm going over them, just so you all are aware. Now, just to highlight here, my base play. So this is what I'm going to come out in every down. It's going to be wide corners. My audibles, if you look here on the right, I have shallow drags, QB sweep, spacing, as well as clear deep. So let's go ahead and dive into the first setup. So the first setup here, which I'll just show it to you because I did cover this in my first video on this formation. This is what it looks like here. You'll typically run it like this here with the bunch side on the short hash mark. So let me set it up again here. It looks like this. If you'd like a further breakdown, make sure to click on the link in the top right. We're going to move on to the next setup. So here I'm going to go ahead and show you a nice zone beater. You can see here's the play. You want to go ahead and streak this inside wide receiver, streak this other wide receiver on the opposite side that's on the slant. So it looks like this. You're going to return route your tight end. And then from there, I'll usually stem up this receiver on the left-hand side here on a corner. So you can see you just have double corners here with some streaks to pull in the middle or just some routes to throw in the seam. Other than that, you have this nice little return route you can dump the ball off to. Let's go ahead and throw one of the corner routes here. Go hike there. You can see towards the long side of the field. You can pass lead that towards the sideline for an easy gain. Do it again here. Right there. This guy's money. Now, like I stated, you can throw it to either side of the field that you want. So just showing it here to this side. So if we're going to the long side of the field here, stem this guy down. Looks like this. So in my opinion, the best way to throw this guy towards the long side of the field is by stemming him down. Now, I'll just show it just versus some other coverages here. Here's the play setup. So you have this guy to dump it off to. Setting it up here. Again, we're audibling to cover 4. And you can see here to the short side, you have that guy right there. All right, so we're going to audible to cover 4. You can see here towards the long side, quick pass lead towards the sidelines, and he is wide open, completely shredding zone coverage here. Last up, let's just show cover 2. Here's the play setup, call hike here. You can see, you can throw this guy right there really easily. The return route does a great job at pulling down the cloud on the outside. That way you can throw this right over the top. The return route there, here it is, here's the play. You can see here, throw it right over the top for easy yards. So here we have another zone beater. Let's go ahead and break down the setup. It's going to be out of wide corners. You want to post this outside wide receiver. You want to block or wheel route the tight end. Just kind of depending on what defense your opponent is in. Slot wide receiver here, put him on a flat. Simply streak the outside guy. Now you can run this at pretty much any hash mark, but in my opinion, it works best when the bunch is on the short side. Now the reason why is just because there's a little bit more space for the slant and the post just to get a little bit more separation from each other, and it just spaces the field a little bit better. That's really the only reason why I prefer this setup on the short side. Run it again. Right there is a nice little sweet spot to throw it over the middle. Now you obviously have some check down routes that you can throw, just kind of dependent on your opponent's adjustments, but you can run this versus other coverages as well. So we'll just show it quickly versus cover 4. Main thing is I want to show you how the post and that slant get open over the middle. You see that right there, the flat pulls down any sort of flat route to the left side of the field so we can dump it off to the slant really quickly. And then you still have here over the middle this post route to the B wide receiver. You gotta wait for it to clear the zones. You can see right there, nice and easy. So moving on here to another zone beater. This is gonna be very good versus cover 3 and cover 4. It's gonna be out of shallow drags. So this is what the play looks like. Go ahead and put the outside guy in a slot fade, stem down this corner route all the way down, and then that's really it. Now with this slot wide receiver here on this sharp corner, you can either leave him at this depth or you can stem him up a little bit. So probably about 5-10 yards, just to make sure you clear any flats on the right, or if your opponent's like a big cover 2 guy, you can throw it over the cover 2 that way. But you can see here, you have a quick hit and drag route over the middle. So here, we're going to just show the corner route to the right. This is just versus a cover 3 here. You can see on the break, it gets inside position. And then from there, you still have like a corner post combo that is very nice. See, like right there, you can easily fit that there and hit it over the middle. Let's do this again here. You can see here with the tight end route. Right there, the zone just jumped down, and now we are off to the races. So like I've stated as well, you can run this versus cover 2 pretty easily. Let's go ahead and just run it here. Really quick setup. So you see on the right hand side here, you can throw this guy once he clears the cloud. And then you're pretty much just looking towards the right side of the field here with the play. You can look to throw the drag, you can look to throw the post. This slot, like corner out, you're not throwing this a lot, to be honest, if we're being real. But you can see how you can still throw these other routes over the middle pretty easily. So you can see here then, with the post on the right-hand side, once it clears the yellows, you can throw it easily as well, still over the middle. So just real quick here as well, you can run this really to either hash mark. But the thing that I would note here is if you're running it to the short side, you can potentially just streak him as well versus any coverage, just to kind of space the field out a little bit better. So you can see how we were able to shred it like that. So here we have spacing. All I really do out of spacing is just try to get a post route here at this X wide receiver spot or the A wide receiver spot here. So we'll go ahead and do a setup like this. To the short side, you can dump the ball to the flats if your opponent gives it to you. Otherwise, you look to check it down to the hitch route. And then aside from that, you try to throw the crosser right here as it clears the zones. You can see we had a lot of time there, and it's easy throws. And then you can see you have the crosser to the left side mixed in with that hitch right there. You can see it's money. Wouldn't really run this a lot versus cover 2, but it does work pretty well versus cover 4. Let's go ahead and run it here. Call hike. You can see you have the hitch. We have the defense shaded down, so you're not really going to give up a lot to the flats with this defense. But we're able to show the deeper routes, which is what we want to do. There, you can see it gets pulled, it's money. Now, if you're kind of worried covering on the left side, you can simply just go ahead and put this guy in a slot fade, and that should do the trick at covering any deep blue out there. That way, once this guy gets across the field, you can dump it off for easy yards. So to note here for this offense, a lot of these setups will work versus multiple coverages. I'm just doing my best to show them basically versus the coverage I feel they work the best. So here I'm going to show a setup out of clear deep. It's best to the short side, so let's move the ball over. Here we have the ball on with the 2 wide receivers on the short side, so the bunch is going towards the long side of the field. Now the setup here versus cover 2 is very nice. Go ahead and put this guy in a corner route like this, stem him down once, and then simply just drag this wide receiver. So what I like about this, the corner should occupy the safety on the left to be able to throw that seam tight end streak. Otherwise, you have a nice drag and corner on the right to throw. So you can see how he's wide open. Do it again here. Call hike. You can see you have a nice little check down to this guy here, picking up easy yards. And then last but not least, you have the corner on the right that you can throw over this zone. So look how open he got. Just a bad throw by the quarterback. Let's throw it one more time here. Here it is. Wait for him to clear that cloud. Right over the top. It is money. This play is also very good against match, so you can definitely feel free to do that. This seam streak is good versus cover 3 too, but we'd be here all day if we showed it versus all coverages. So here I'm going to show how to attack match coverage. What I like to do out of clear deep, it looks like this. I basically just drag the inside wide receiver on the left, stem up the in route 5 yards, and you want to make sure the bunch is on the right side of the field. So we'll call hike here. You can see how you can quickly dump it off to that running back there. And then if you have a little bit of time here, you'll be able to throw this tight end deep. See right there? He gets wide open for a touchdown. I'll show it quickly in the replay. You can see we hike the ball. The drag route obviously open. The in route forces the safety up top to match up to this guy. And then it leaves this guy wide open for easy yards. This is really the easiest way to attack match in this formation. It's just very easy because you're going to force them to swap to cover the in route. You don't really need a whole specific separate play for this, just like a bomb in this formation, just because everything else gets open pretty much on its own versus match out of the other plays. So here I'm going to show you a setup versus cover 0 blitzes. So let's go ahead and press here. It is going to be out of wide corners. Block your tight end simply to block the blitz. A lot of these setups, though, you can run with just blocking the tight end in order to attack any sort of cover 0. But this is a preferred setup of mine. You got a quick slant over the middle, post over the middle, and then the fade in the sharp corner. So you can see how the sharp corner cooks man, especially if they're like just shaded normal, like inside. But you'll see here as well, I'll hike here, this slant gets great positioning inside. You're going to get an easy catch on that. That was even just shaded inside that happened like that. So you can see that it's cooking. There, money, easy yards. And then you still have the post or this slot fade. Now the slot fade can be a little bit tricky. Let's just go ahead and move this guy down in the box here, because they're usually going to be usering somebody on this guy, or they will be like using a bit of linebacker because they don't want to really want to send 6 versus 5 wide. But you can see here with the play setup, you have this slot fade in the post over the middle as well. You can see right there, just a lob over the top. We don't really have a lot of space, but let me see if I can back it up a little bit. Should be able to most often just lob this right over the top here because there's no safety up top. Easy yards. Sometimes you can just do a little swerve if you need to. Otherwise, you should be able to do it without it. Let's move him down. Just going to try to throw the post here. There. You can see how he's get inside position there on Carter. Carter's just really good. So call hike here. You can see on this cut, he's get some separation from the corner for easy yards. I'm going to go ahead and show some setups here versus man coverage. You can see this is shallow drags. You can run shallow drag stock, and you can run it at any hash mark. So just for spacing here for match coverage, I'll just run it in the middle of the field here. So you can see we're calling hike, and you can see how these drags are getting separation. They're getting open. Let's go ahead and press this time here. Called hike. Look at that drag right there. And then you still have 2 decent corner outs on the outside. Go ahead and press here, call hike. Look at A right there, sharp cutting corner, wide open on the sidelines. press. There's no adjustments to this play at all. Very nice. You can see how he got separation there. Just got shedded before I could throw it. But we'll do it again here. It's a nice quick hike play versus man. See right there, able to fit it in. And then with the tight end here, if you have a faster tight end, it'll be nice because this tight end here is like 74 speed, so he's not the best. But I just really like Legway. And then you can see how he still got separation there, just wasn't able to come down with it. So here we have a play out of wide corners. Super easy setup. Go ahead and whip out the tight end. Slot fade this outside guy on the bunch side. Also a setup here you can run on any hash mark. Let's go ahead and just press coverage here. Here's the play. You can see this post route, or sorry, this corner route got wide open on the cut. We were able to dump it off easily. And then we'll look to the left-hand side here to throw this slant as it crosses. You can see once he beats the press, he's over on the left side and we're able to dot easily. Now, if you focus on the right-hand side here, this slot fade will do good against any sort of press, especially with like no safety up top. That's when it's best. And then you can see how this slant is going to get open pretty much versus anything. These slants are very nice. So a nice shallow slant. So here we're just going to try to throw the post. Let's do it again. Press coverage. Get the ball. See here on the cut. Easy dot. So that does complete my breakdown. If you all found this offense helpful, make sure to leave a like and of course subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions at all, just comment below. I get to them as quickly as I can. I'll see you next time.